Let's begin by offering our respects to the founder Acharya of ISKCON, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Itti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. He Krishna, Karuna Sindhu, Dinabandhu Jagatpate, Gopesha, Gopika Kanta, Radha Kanta, Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Rishabhanu Sute Devi, Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Vyaevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadhar Shrivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Okay, thank you all very much for coming for our weekly classes. I can see here Aja, Lavina, Meena, Venkachari, Karuna, Varsha, Bhumika, Lal Milvani. My parents are there. I can see Disha, Krishna Kumar, Venkatesh, Saket, Devina, Soma, Neha, and Ritu Lalwani. Thank you very much for your punctuality. Okay, I can see Divya also now. Okay, so what did we see in the previous class? We started chapter number
2.
Chapter 2. What is the title of chapter 2?
Contents of the Gita summarized.
So why is it called as contents of the Gita summarized? Anybody remembers?
Because it tells us that we are not the body, but the spirit soul.
No, that's not the reason. Why is it called as summarized? Contents of the Gita summarized.
Because it's the longest chapter in the Bhagavad Gita.
That gives the explanation given by Krishna, and all the next verses are going in detail of the same explanation.
Yes, exactly. Very nice. So because in chapter 2, whatever Krishna had to say is there, and the subsequent chapters give a more detailed explanation of what is already spoken by Krishna in chapter 2. That's why it's called as a summary. Content of the Gita summarized. Very nice. Okay. What else did we see? How many shlokas did we cover?
Just one.
Only one shloka, isn't it?
Only one shloka.
First shloka, yes. So the chapter 2 begins with, okay, let me share the screen. Here. Chapter 2 begins with Arjuna's eyes full of Ashwapurna collection. And why are his eyes full of tears? Because he's feeling Kripaya Avishtam. He's feeling so much compassion that he's completely overwhelmed with compassion. So therefore now we see how Arjuna's his eyes are full of tears. He's overwhelmed by compassion. And then therefore Krishna is going to speak. For the first time in the next verse, Krishna is going to speak a full-fledged shloka, full-fledged verse. In chapter 1, he spoke only one line, but now he's going to speak a full verse. Now, when somebody speaks, we discussed how the shloka begins with the name of the person and the word uvacha. So when Sanjaya speaks, it is Sanjaya uvacha. When Dhritarashtra spoke the first verse, it was Dhritarashtra uvacha. When Arjuna spoke, Arjuna uvacha. But when Krishna speaks, it is not Krishna uvacha. Okay, we will see how Krishna is addressed. Okay, what else did we see in the previous class? We saw some examples. No, we saw one example of the drowning man, where we discussed how it's important to show compassion for the soul, not for the body. We discussed how compassion can be shown in the ignorant way and in the knowledgeable way. So Arjuna's compassion was for the body, not for the soul. Whereas a more deeper understanding is when we do something to benefit the soul of the person. What is done by social workers is for the body, not for the soul. But when we educate somebody in spiritual knowledge, when we educate someone and encourage someone to take the chanting of the holy name, to accept a qualified spiritual master, to read the Shastra, then we are benefiting the soul of the person. What other examples did we see? We saw the example of the surgeon. When the surgeon operates a patient, if he's going to feel compassion that I don't want to cut through the body, then it's absurd, no? Because a surgeon is going to operate to give relief to the patient, not to cause any kind of inconvenience. So Arjuna's reluctance to fight was like a surgeon's reluctance to operate. Arjuna is a Kshatriya. He has to fight, it is his duty. And plus, when these people are going to die on the battlefield anyway, Arjuna is going to kill. Arjuna is not going to or not be able to in any case kill the soul of these great personalities. In fact, they are going to get benefited because whoever died on the battle of Kurukshetra, they all went back home, back to Godhead. Why? Because Krishna was personally present on the planet. Okay, do we have any questions or are we ready to begin today's class?
Begin,
Okay.
Mataji.
Okay. Bhumika, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, so since you read only one shloka last time, would you like to continue your reading in today's class as well?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, thank you. So let's listen to the shloka. Okay. Oh, I have a problem in my file. 1 second.
श्रीभगवानुवाच कुतस्त्वाकश्मलमिदं विषमे समुपस्थितम् अनार्यजुष्टमस्वर्ग्यम् अकीर्तिकरमर्जुन.
Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, how have these impurities come upon you? They are not at all befitting a man who knows the value of life. They lead not to higher planets, but to infamy.
So Krishna is telling Arjuna that from where these impurities have come upon you, it's not befitting of a person like Arjuna, of the stature of Arjuna, to speak what he has spoken. So Krishna is saying, Kutastva, from where all this kashvalam, all these impurities have come upon you? Because it is not expected of Arjuna. And then Krishna says that this is anarya. Anarya means it is not at all befitting for an Aryan. Now, who are the Aryans? Aryans are people who are advanced in spiritual knowledge, or who are well aware of spiritual knowledge. They are called as Aryans. So he's saying that this is anarya. This is not at all a quality of an Aryan. Then he's saying that it is aswargam. Aswargam means it will not take you to Swarga. So this will not take you to the higher planetary systems. It will not take you to heavenly planets. And he's saying, he's using this word akirti. Akirti means it will make you infamous. So which means it will make Arjuna famous for the wrong reasons. So Krishna is saying that from where you have got these impurities, and it is not befitting a man of your stature, from where at this hour of crisis, in fact, at this crucial juncture, all these impurities have come upon Arjuna, Krishna is saying. And he's saying this anarya, it will not take you to Swarga, aswargyam, and it will lead to infamy. It will make you famous for the wrong reasons. Akirti, Krishna is saying. So when Krishna is speaking, the verse begins with Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. He does not begin, Sanjaya is not saying Krishna Uvacha, he's saying Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Now this is very, very significant, and we are going to spend some time on this as to why Krishna is considered Bhagavan. What is the definition of Bhagavan? What is the definition of God? Is it possible to have many gods? Can one country have many presidents? Can there be only one head of the state, or there can be several? So what do you mean by Bhagavan, and why should we accept Krishna as Bhagavan? Why should we accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Is it just blind faith, or are we going to see the reasons behind it? We'll see some Shastric references, because it's very crucial that we accept Krishna as God in order to accept the instructions of Krishna. Why should I accept the instructions of somebody who I don't accept as authority? Because I can receive instructions from so many people. No, even the Baba in my village claims that, for example, that he is God. So many people claim that they are God, especially in Kali Yuga. There are so many people who claim that they are God. So whom are we going to accept as God, and whom are we not going to accept as God? It's very, very crucial, because many people who say that they are God later see that they are caught in some kind of controversy, and they are languishing in the prison houses, isn't it? So let's see. Before we go into the definition of Bhagavan, we have to understand that the absolute truth is realized in three features: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So there are different kinds of categories of transcendentalists, and they wish to realize God. So the Lord can be realized in three features. One is Brahman. Now, what do you mean by Brahman? Brahman is the effulgence or the light that is coming out of the body of Krishna. So it is called as a Brahman effulgence. It's not wrong, it is correct. But it's not the only understanding of God. A higher understanding of God is when we realize God as Paramatma or the super soul. Atma means soul, Param means super, so Paramatma is super soul. So the Lord is residing in the heart of every living entity, right from the small ant up to Lord Brahma. So he's residing there as a super soul. And we know him as the Paramatma. So you can see the form of Paramatma here, how he's in the heart of the animals, the tigers, the human beings, and also of the Devatas. So a higher understanding of absolute truth or of God is that God is realized as Paramatma. Again, this is not the only understanding, it doesn't stop here. An even higher understanding of God and even higher understanding of the absolute truth is when we realize God as a person, just like you and me, we are people. God is also a person, but he is the topmost person. We are Purushas, we are persons, but he is Purushottam. Purusha plus Uttam, Purushottam. So he is the topmost person. So God is not only an energy or only a light. He is not only the super soul. He is also a person. And this is the highest understanding of God. Very, very important concept. So one can realize God as the Brahman effulgence, as the Paramatma, as the Bhagavan. The Bhagavan understanding is the highest understanding. Of course, he is also the Paramatma, he is also the Brahman, but it's not only what he is. Okay. And if you can truly believe that God is a person, then you are more advanced than 99% of the world population in understanding the philosophy. Okay, because there's very few people are able to understand. Very, very few. Now, when one realizes the Bhagavan feature of the Lord, one automatically by default realizes Paramatma and the Brahman feature. It is there by default, like how in maths we learn subsets and supersets. So what is there in a superset? Like there are different subsets and then there is a superset. So the subsets automatically are contained in the superset. So Bhagavan is the superset, wherein if one realizes Bhagavan, one automatically realizes Paramatma and Brahman. If one understands only the Paramatma feature and his realization stops here, then he can by default understand the Brahman effulgence, but he cannot understand the Bhagavan feature of the Lord. If one understands only the Brahman effulgence, then he cannot understand Paramatma and Bhagavan. It's not that the Brahman effulgence concept is wrong. It is correct. He is Brahman. He is the light. He is the energy. But it's not the only thing that he is. He is Brahman effulgence. He is the light. He is the energy. But he is also the Paramatma. He is also the super soul. And he is not only Brahman and Paramatma, but he is also a person. He is also Bhagavan. See, Srila Prabhupada explains this with a very nice example of the sun. Let's go there first. Let's read this, Bhumika.
These three divine aspects can be explained by the example of sun, which also has three different aspects, namely the sunshine, the sun's surface, and the sun planet itself. One who studies the sunshine only is the preliminary student. One who understands the sun's surface is further advanced, and one who can enter into the sun planet is the highest. Ordinary students who are satisfied by simply understanding the sunshine, its universal pervasiveness, and the glaring effulgence of its impersonal nature, may be compared to those who can realize only the Brahman feature of the absolute truth. The student who has advanced still further can know the sun disk, which is compared to knowledge of Paramatma feature of the absolute truth. And the student who can enter into the heart of sun planet is student who can enter into the heart of sun planet. Sun planet is compared to those who realize the personal features of the supreme absolute truth. Therefore, the bhaktas or the transcendentalists who have realized the Bhagwan feature of absolute truth are the topmost transcendentalists. Although all students who are engaged in the study of absolute truth are engaged in the same subject matter, the sunshine, the sun disk, and the inner affairs of sun planet cannot be separated from one another, and yet the students of the three different phases are not in the same category.
So see, these three features are compared to sunshine, the sun's surface or the sun's disk, and the sun planet itself. Can one say that the sunshine is existing, but the sun planet is not existing? Is it correct theory?
No.
No, because obviously if there is sunshine, it means that the sun planet is there, it exists, the sun exists, because the sunshine is coming from the sun planet. We cannot say that there is sunshine. I believe in the sunshine, but I cannot believe in the sun. Why? Because I can see the sunshine, but I cannot see the sun planet because the sun is probably hidden behind clouds. But even though the sun is hidden behind clouds and I'm not able to see the sun, still, just because the sunshine is there, it means that the sun is there. We cannot say that the sunshine is existing without the sun. So to say that I believe only in the Brahman effulgence, but I don't believe in God, the person, it is as absurd as saying that I believe in sunshine, but I don't believe in the sun. So see, when we study the sunshine, then we have a certain understanding. But a higher understanding or a more advanced student is one who is studying the disk of the sun or the surface of the sun. And an even more advanced student is the one who's studying the sun planet itself. So it's like going from first grade to fifth grade to 10th grade, like that. So so the highest transcendentalist, the greatest transcendentalist, or the best student who has all detailed information is the one who can study the sun planet itself, or one who can study the Bhagavan feature of the Lord. Now let's see one more example. If we see the mountains from a distance, we may see something like this. But as we walk closer, then we are able to see the grass, the trees, the vegetation that is growing on the mountain. And we walk even closer, then we can see the people in the marketplace. They are working there, they are selling there, they are living there, children are playing there. So all three are the same, right? It's the same mountain. But our understanding gets deeper as we go closer to the mountain. So when we advance more, or a greater transcendentalist is equal to having come so close to the mountain that he can actually see every single activity that is going on in the mountain of the people over there. But if we distance ourselves, then we cannot see all the details. We cannot realize all the features of the mountain. We cannot realize all the features of God. We only realize a Paramatma feature, or we can only see the grass, the greenery, the trees, the shrubs. And we are even more far away from the mountain, then we can only see something like this, the shape and the background over there, not more than that. So these three examples we have to understand this very, very important concept. So what kind of people realize the Brahman effulgence? Okay, how do I get rid of this red mark over here?
With
Anybody know?
eraser, you have to do it.
Clear all drawing. Okay, found it. Okay. So here we see what kind of transcendentalist realizes what feature of the Lord. The one who realizes the Brahman effulgence, you can see here, he is meditating on only the light. So the Jnanis, or the students of the Upanishads, are the transcendentalists who realize the Brahman effulgence of the Lord. And this person here, this transcendentalist here, he is meditating upon the super soul. You can see here, he is meditating on the super soul. So he is going to realize the Paramatma feature of the Lord. Then we have here the next transcendentalist who is meditating on the personal features of the Lord or on God, the person. So he is realized by the bhaktas or the devotees. So there are three categories of transcendentalists. And each of these categories of transcendentalists are realizing the different features of the Lord. See, one usually talks in general terms that I want moksha. But moksha or liberation is also of 5 kinds. Not every transcendentalist has the same destination. So one may say that, okay, what does it matter whether I am a jnani or a yogi or a bhakta? Anyway, I will get liberation. Anyway, I will get mukti if I can do my meditation successfully in this lifetime. So anyway, everybody's going to get mukti. So what is the difference? But no, even mukti, there are of 5 kinds. What are these 5 kinds of muktis? Here we have this verse from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Salokya, Samipya, Sarupya, Sashti, and Sayogya. See, Pancha Parakara, 5 types. So what is Salokya? Salokya means that after liberation, one is promoted to the planet where the Supreme Personality of Godhead resides. So Loka means planet. So Salokya means you are residing in the same planet as the Lord. Samipya means you remain as an associate of the Lord. So there are so many residents, but in Samipya, you become a close associate of the Lord, just as how Hanuman is a close associate of Lord Ram. Wherever Lord Ram goes, Hanuman is there. Then Sarupya means you attain the same Rupa, the same 400 form like the Lord. So all the residents of the Vaikuntha planets, they have 400 forms, just like Narayan. Then Sashti means you get the same opulence like those of the Supreme Lord. So we discussed the 6 opulences. So one gets the same opulences as that of the Lord. And Sayogya means merging into the Brahman effulgence of the Lord. So we know that Brahman, the Brahma Jyoti or the Brahman realization is. So those who meditate on the Brahma Jyoti, or those who believe and have faith that God is only the light, then they merge into the Brahman effulgence. They merge into that light. Now we have to always understand that the soul will never lose its individuality. The soul always maintains its individuality, irrespective of whether the soul is in the material or in the spiritual world. Always the soul maintains its individuality. It's not that one drop you put in the ocean, so now you can no more find where that drop is. No, it's not that the soul merges and therefore completely loses its individuality. At every point of time, eternally, the soul maintains its individuality. So when the soul is in the Brahman effulgence, it is existing there in the light, just as how we have, let's say you slice a watermelon and there are so many seeds. Now the seed is one with the fruit, isn't it? The seed is one with the pulp of the fruit, but still the seed is maintaining its individuality. It's not that it has lost its individuality. So it's one and different at the same time. It is merged with the fruit, but still it maintains its individuality. So this is something like this. You merge into the Brahman effulgence, but still you exist. The soul still exists. The soul has not completely lost its individuality. So these are the 5 kinds of liberation. Now, Sayogya is the liberation that a bhakta will definitely reject. A bhakta is not going to accept Sayogya because in the Sayogya liberation, in the Sayogya mukti, there is nothing for the soul to do. He just exists in the light, but there is no activity. But when you have the other, for example, when you're an associate of the Lord, when you're in the same planet of the Lord, then you can serve the Lord actively. So there is some activity, right? There is some service that you're doing. Every one of us in the spiritual world has a unique service. For example, somebody has a service of bringing flowers to the Lord every day. Somebody has a service of singing the glories of the Lord every day. So everyone has some service to render even in the spiritual world, which is not possible in Sayogya Mukti. Therefore, a bhakta completely rejects the Sayogya Mukti. Yeah, Krishna Kumar, you have your hand raised.
Yeah, I think if you give a parallel example, then if I say, shall we say Salukya, like let's take heaven for example, and king of heaven is, let's say, Krishna. So in Salukya means I will go to heaven. Samipya means I will be one of his king's consorts. 400 form, 400 form is like I will also gain 400. And then fourth is like I will be one of the uh, Garbhodakshai Vishnu or something like that.
No.
Because-
No, wait, hold on. When we get liberation, we don't go to heaven. Heaven is still the material world. Remember the 14 planetary systems. Heaven is still the material world. Liberation means Brahman effulgence or Goloka or Vaikuntha. That is spiritual world.
Okay, maybe no, don't go with the heaven example. Let's say we are talking about Vrindavan or Mathura. Okay, or what is that?
Yeah, so what is the question?
So my question is like, no, okay, let's take here itself. Let's say Mathura. Okay, so Salukya means I reach Mathura. Samupya means I am one of maybe Krishna's army. I am one of the persons in Krishna army. Sarupya means here the 400 example will not fit. That's why I will 7. And Sadistri means I am his brother or something like that. Does that equate the comparison?
No. See, nobody can become brother means Balaram. Balaram, that post is already taken. Nobody can become Balaram. The post is of the Devatas, the demigods. For example, Yashoda, that post is already taken. Nobody can become a Yashoda. That post is
But
already.
Yashoda is also a soul. Yashoda is also a soul. So no, we all say no. Enna tavam Sedao Yashoda. So what were his past deeds that Yashoda chose? Yashoda becomes Yashoda. So we can say I am also doing some pious work, and that ultimately after accumulating all those things, one birth I will get as Yashoda. I'm not sure.
No, that's what I'm
So-
saying. You cannot become Yashoda because that post is already taken. Yashoda is eternally Yashoda. That post is eternally hers. You cannot get that post. You can understand what I'm saying. That post is eternally taken. Whenever Krishna descends, the same personality comes as Yashoda. What you can become is one of the devatas or one of the other associates of the Lord. Like there are some, like you mentioned Krishna's army. So associate means, see, when Krishna comes, he comes with so many of his associates. Like Arjuna is also an associate, but now wherever Krishna goes, see, Krishna is performing his pastimes eternally in the material world. There are millions of planets in the material world. And even now, somewhere in some planet, he's speaking Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. So eternal associate means wherever the Lord goes, eternally that person associates with him. So you can become an associate, but these positions that you are talking, no, like Yashoda, Mahavishnu, Balaram, brother, all those posts are already taken. You cannot become Balaram, you cannot become Yashoda.
Okay, so you are saying that in Goloka, let's now come to a real example. In Goloka, when I say I reach Salokya, then I reach Goloka. Then when I say Samipya, then I have already reached maybe next, but I get Samipya. That means it is not at all not only reaching Vaikuntha, but also becoming in the Vaikuntha an associate of Krishna, who is, let's say, delivering food or massaging his feet or some whatever the case. Okay. Then Sarupya means what? Because 400 form only Krishna is having, no, in the Goloka. There are not other people who are there because
Oh,
then
wait.
if you
Krishna doesn't have a 400 form in Goloka. Krishna and Goloka is the 200 form. Narayan
but in
or Vishnu in Vaikuntha planets is 400 form. So form means he may have the same color or he may look exactly like Krishna. Sarupya is you look exactly like Krishna. Like one of Krishna's cousins, he looked exactly like Krishna, and sometimes the gopis would get confused. Is this Krishna or is this Krishna's cousin? So you have the same physical appearance. That is Sarupya. And close associate. See, one may be on the same planet, but one may not be a close associate of the Lord. It's two different things. Like you have the president. One may be on the same dais as a president, as his bodyguard, but he may not be closely associating with the president, or like if the president has to discuss some very intimate affairs. So then he has his close group of people whom he is going to consult for some political affairs. So that is close association. So to be on the same planet is not necessarily the same as being a close associate.
Okay, all first three is okay. Then what is the fourth one?
What is the fourth one?
Sashri.
Sashri. So Krishna has unlimited opulences. So some we discussed 6, no, wealth. So you probably have the same opulence as Krishna, same wealth or same beauty or same intelligence, like that. Any of the opulences of Krishna, you have as much as Krishna has. Which is also not an ordinary thing, because imagine if you have the beauty of Krishna. Krishna is most beautiful, most beautiful. If you want to have the intelligence of Krishna, Krishna is most intelligent. So it's a fantastic opulence to have the same opulence as the Lord.
But Mataji, the point of attaining Vaikuntha is to not get affected by these opulences. No. The idea is to only be with Krishna. So
yeah, the idea is to be with Krishna. These things come as a side benefit. It's like added perks which you get to enjoy, but you don't get affected by it. Krishna gives it to you as an award, although you don't want it, but still Krishna wants to give you. Is it clear?
yeah, okay. I can for a correlation, I can say that no, many people get honorary doctorates from those. So it is like you are receiving an opulence equivalent to that, but you do not use that opulence to do something out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't affect a pure devotee. Now, a pure devotee only wants to be with Krishna. Actually, a pure devotee does not even want any of these liberations. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu prays like that in his Shikshastakam. See, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the only thing he wrote was Shikshastakam, the 8 verses. Shiksha Ashtakam. Ashtakam means 8 and Shiksha means knowledge. So 8 verses he wrote. And in that Shikshastakam, he prays that I don't even want liberation. So a pure devotee, it does not matter for him whether he's in the spiritual world or he's in the material world. He is ready to suffer in the material world, quote unquote suffer, because actually a pure devotee never suffers because he's transcendental, no mind. He's not affected or hassled by the material problems. So a pure devotee doesn't want any of these 5 liberations. All he wants is what? What does he want?
Association with his devotees, association with
No,
pastime.
who can say? What does a pure devotee want?
To
Service to
serve
Krishna.
Krishna.
Service to Krishna, exactly. All that he wants is seva. All that he wants is he wants to serve. He just wants to serve the Lord. Now, whether he serves the Lord in the spiritual world or he serves the Lord in the material world, it does not matter to a devotee. A devotee doesn't want any of these liberations. What to speak of the opulences that come with the liberation? He doesn't desire it. So let's say somebody is in the spiritual world and Krishna says you definitely deserve to be in the spiritual world, but I want to send you to the material world on a mission. I want you to go there and preach and save fallen conditioned souls. I want you to bring back as many conditioned souls as possible back to the spiritual world. Now, is the person going to say no? A pure devotee will say, no, I don't want to go on the mission. I want to stay with you in the spiritual world. No, it doesn't matter. He just wants to execute the instruction of the Lord. Like Hanuman, no? Hanuman was a perfect servant of Lord Ram. So pure devotee just wants to execute the order. It doesn't matter to him whether he's in the spiritual world or the material world. He just wants to serve the Lord. That's all. Unconditionally. No condition, no strings attached. Okay? So coming back to the word Bhagavan. Bhagavan, this word Bhagavan is a combination of 2 words, Bhaga plus Van. So Bhaga means opulences or Samriddhi, we say in Hindi. And Van means one who possesses it. So who has given this definition of Bhagavan? So we have Parashar Muni. He was the grandson of Vashishta Muni, who was there in the Ramayana, and the father of Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva, of course, the Shaktavesha avatar who has put all the Shastras into writing. So he's the father of Vyasadeva. He united with Satyavati. If you remember Mahabharata, Satyavati, the fisherwoman, he united with Satyavati before her marriage to Maharaj Shantanu. And therefore, he begot Vyasadeva. So, what is this definition of God that he has given? He is also a great spiritual authority, Parashar Muni. So, he has given this definition of God. So, what is his definition? He says that Bhagavan is defined by Parashar Muni. Here, see, this verse is, where do we get this definition? Is there in the Vishnu Purana. So, he says God is that personality who has these qualities. What is that? Strength, fame, wealth, knowledge, beauty, and renunciation. Now, how much strength, how much fame, how much wealth, how much knowledge, how much beauty, how much renunciation does God has? He has in full quantity, full. So it cannot be that God is that person who has strength, but there is somebody else who has a little more strength. So he has these 6 qualities in full quantity. And how many of these 6 qualities he has? He has all 6. So God is that person who has all these 6 opulences. This is the definition of God. Now in the material world, there may be somebody who's the richest person, no? So we read in the newspaper, so and so is the wealthiest man on the planet. Fine, but he does not also have all knowledge. He is not also the most intelligent person on the planet. Neither is he also the most beautiful person on the planet. Neither is he the most renounced person on the planet. So God is that person who has all 6 and he has it to full extent. That is God. So whenever somebody claims that he is God, he should be able to fulfill this definition. God is not that person who has gray hair. God is not that person who has a loose tooth. God is not that person who falls sick, who has a disease, who gets a fever. No, that's not God. Okay, God is that person who has these 6 qualities to the fullest extent, and he has all 6 of them. Now, does Krishna fit into this definition? Let us see.
Yes.
Yes. So see, strength. The strength of one who is able to lift all the world out of the causal ocean and drain that ocean itself. So we see here in the picture, from Krishna we have, who's this person here? Tell me.
Vishnu.
Not Garbhodakashaya Vishnu. Which Vishnu?
Kshirodakshaya Vishnu.
No.
Mahavishnu.
Mahavishnu, yes. Mahavishnu or Karanodakashaya Vishnu. So Krishna's first expansion in the material world, I'm not talking about spiritual world. Krishna's first expansion in the material world is Mahavishnu. What does Mahavishnu do? By his breathing, he is creating universes. So every time he breathes out, from every pore of his skin, a whole universe is created. Now, one universe means several planets, okay? And when he breathes in, then all these planets go back into his body. So that is destruction. So for us, it is millions and millions of years, but for him, it is just one breath. So can you imagine the strength of that person who is able to, so all the planets and the ocean, everything goes into him. So can you imagine the strength of one who is able to lift all the worlds out of causal ocean and drain that ocean? It is inconceivable. But that is the strength of Krishna. And this also not Krishna does, Krishna's expansion does this work. We will not read the text completely in the interest of time. You can read them when I share the slides in your PowerPoint. Then fame. See, Krishna is not someone who's only known on this planet. Somebody may be a celebrity and he may be well known by everyone in all parts of the globe. But Krishna is that personality who's known by all other personalities in all other planetary systems, in all other universes. See, when Devaki was pregnant with Krishna in the womb, all the Devatas, they came to offer prayers to Krishna in the womb. This is there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So he's that personality who is well known even by the residents of the other planetary systems in the universe across all the universes. That's how famous Krishna is. Then wealth. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that he is Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. He also says this in chapter 10. Krishna will say that he is the source of all spiritual and material worlds. So what is this material world? You can see here. The entire material world, you can see here, Mahavishnu is breathing and he's creating millions of universes. See, Mahavishnu's body is huge, very, very big. We cannot even imagine how big his body is. So from that huge body, imagine how many pores he has on that body. And from each pore, a whole universe is created. So there are so many millions and millions and millions of universes in the material world. And all this is only one corner of the spiritual sky. This is the spiritual sky. You can see Goloka here, the center of the lotus is Goloka. And here we have the Vaikuntha planets where the Lord is residing in the four-handed Narayan form. So this entire millions and millions of universes, just one corner of the spiritual world. And he is the proprietor or the owner of the entire spiritual and material worlds. Krishna himself says it in chapter number 10. Nobody else has claimed this. No other Devata has claimed this. Krishna is the only one who has said this. Now, Krishna is not the person who's only going to talk. Because in chapter 10 of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna talks about his opulences, but in chapter 11, he proves what he has spoken. He also walks the talk. How did he prove what he said is correct in chapter 11? What happened in chapter 11?
He showed
I think
his.
he shows his Virat Roop.
He showed the Vishwaroop, or he showed the universal form. In that universal form, he showed everything that could possibly exist, isn't it? So nobody else has shown that universal form. Nobody else has shown that Virat Roop. Only Krishna. So he himself declares that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And not only he declares, he also proves it, he also shows it. Now somebody can talk and say that, oh yes, I am the owner of all the planetary systems, but can he show the universal form? No. So then we cannot accept that person as God. Knowledge. Now Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that he is residing in the heart of every living entity. So see, we may know what is going on in our own bodies. I don't know what is going on in your body. What are the aches and pains, or what are the thoughts that are going on in your mind? I do not know. Unless you tell me, I don't know. But Krishna, because he's the super soul and he's residing as a super soul in the body of every living entity, he knows exactly what is going on in the heart and in the body of every living entity. Is there anyone who knows better than Krishna? No. So he also has this opulence of knowledge, and he has it to the full extent. See, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, again, chapter 10, where Krishna describes his opulences, that neither the hosts of demigods nor the great sages know my origin. So even the Devatas, even the great sages, they do not know about Krishna's origin. Why? Because he says that he is the source of the Devatas and the sages. So even the Devatas, Krishna says, are coming from him. So the Devatas are coming from Krishna, not vice versa. So these are all Shastric evidences. We don't have to blindly believe it, but we have Shastric evidence. Then beauty. Krishna is Sarva Saundarya Sangraham. He is the reservoir of beauty. Of course, Narayan is also very, very beautiful, extremely beautiful, but Krishna is most beautiful. Nobody can equal the beauty of Krishna. See, in the Brahma Samhita is spoken by Lord Brahma himself, and he is glorifying Krishna in the Brahma Samhita. So in the Brahma Samhita, Brahma is saying that Krishna's beauty cannot be equal even by the beauty of millions of cupids combined together. The unique feature of Krishna's beauty is that he never grows old and always appears young. So he never grows beyond. Eternally, Krishna is residing in Goloka as a 16-year-old boy, always youthful. God is not that personality who grows old. That's not God. Then renunciation. Renunciation means what? Ready to give it up. So Krishna, just now we discussed how he says that he is the owner of all the material and the spiritual worlds. Everything has come from him. The devatas have come from him. The great sages have come from him. So everything is coming from Krishna. But still, he is aloof. He is not attached. He is renounced. Because see, Krishna says, although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation. So he is there and he is also not there. So he is completely renounced. Krishna gives this example in 7.7 where he says that there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. So just as how we have a pearl necklace, all the pearls are together because of that thread. So Krishna is that thread which is holding everything together. All these planets which are floating in space, such heavy planets, they are floating on space. It is all there because of Krishna's energy. Krishna's strength is because of Krishna wants the planets to float. So he is holding everything together. So everything is dependent on him, but still he says that I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation. So there is no greater renunciant than Krishna. Coming to again Brahma Samhita, why should we accept Krishna as God? So Brahma Samhita, there is this very famous verse. Lord Brahma says, Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchit Ananda Vigraha, Anadir Adir Govinda, Sarva Karana Karanam. Ishvara Parama Krishna. Krishna is Ishvara Parama. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is Satchit Ananda. Sat means he is eternal. And Chit means he is full of knowledge. And Ananda means he is blissful. So Krishna is Satchit Ananda. Anadir Adir. He has no other origin but himself. He has no other origin but himself, which means Krishna is not coming from anyone. He has no other origin. He is the origin of all. So we cannot say that Krishna is coming from Vishnu, which most people think. Because Krishna, even Lord Brahma is saying, Anadir Adir, he has no origin. He is the origin of all. Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the prime cause of all causes. So whatever is happening, it's because of Krishna. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is described that the wind blows out of fear of Krishna. The sun shines out of fear of Krishna. All the devatas are doing their duties out of fear of Krishna. So he is the cause of all causes. Who is saying this? Lord Brahma himself is saying this. And who is Lord Brahma? He is the most intelligent entity in the universe. In the universe, there is no one more intelligent than Lord Brahma. So even Lord Brahma is praying like this in the Brahma Samhita. Again, in the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma is comparing, he's giving this example of candles. So when we have birthday candles, when we light, when we have, let's say there are 10 candles on the cake, all the candles look the same. Yes. But still one candle is the original candle from which the other candles were lit. So Krishna is the original candle and all other Vishnu Tattvas, Narayan, Narsimhadev, Vamana, all these other Vishnu Tattvas, they are same as Krishna, but still they are not the original candle. They look the same on the cake. So they're all Vishnu Tattvas. They have the same opulences as Krishna, but still Krishna is the original candle. This is how Lord Brahma explains this in the Brahma Samhita. Now see, Srimad Bhagavatam. After describing, so the Srimad Bhagavatam gives a detailed description of all the incarnations. So after describing various incarnations of the Lord, such as Ram, Balaram, Vamana, Nrsimha, and Vishnu, Sukadeva Goswami says, what does Sukadeva Goswami say? Eta Chamsa Kala Pumsha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Now this line, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, Krishna, you are God, you are the Supreme Personality of God. This is called as the mission statement of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam has 18,000 shlokas, 18,000 verses. Bhagavad Gita has 700. So you can imagine 18,000. It's such a voluminous literature. And this Srimad Bhagavatam, of all these shlokas, this one line, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, is the mission statement of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So what does Sukadeva Goswami say in this verse? All of the above mentioned incarnations are either plenary portions or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord. Plenary means full. But Lord Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. All of them appear on planets whenever there is a disturbance created by the atheists. The Lord incarnates to protect the theists. So the Lord is not coming to kill the demons. His main mission is to protect his devotees. So this again is Shastric evidence as to why we accept Krishna as Bhagavan Swayam. Now let's go to the Puranas. In the Skanda Purana, it states, let's read this, Bhumika.
In the Skanda Purana, it states, in the material world, which is full of darkness and dangers, combined with birth and death, and full of different entities, the only way to get out of great entanglement is to accept loving transcendental devotional service to Lord Vasudeva. The position of Krishna as God is confirmed by great personalities like Narada, Asita, Devala, Parasara, Brahma, and Shiva.
So the only way to get out of this material world is what? According to Skanda Purana, to accept loving transcendental devotional service to Lord Vasudeva. Because where there is love, there is automatically service. There cannot exist love without service. If a mother says that she loves her child, obviously she's serving the child. No, it's an expression of her love. Because would she be willing to do that service for somebody else? When we render service to our bosses, we want the salary at the end of the month. Would we be doing that work? Would we go for that job, do the work in the office, if he does not pay us a salary? We would not be willing to do that, isn't it? But when we render service, loving, devotional service, so love means seva, then that is the way to get out of the great entanglement. Because when we do devotional service, when we do seva, then we express our love to the Lord. And to go back to the spiritual world, we have to love him, isn't it? Without love, then what is the point if people are staying in one house, but there is no love amongst the family members, only they are fighting. So what is the point? So living together, living with him in the spiritual world means, of course, we should have love for the Lord, and love is expressed by service. That's why not everyone gets the opportunity to render service to the Lord. When we get an opportunity to render any service, we have to grab it with both the hands, because that is coming directly from Krishna. That is an opportunity that is coming directly from Krishna. So if there's any opportunity coming your way to render any seva, then please grab it with both your hands if you can do it. If you can do it. Okay. So there is more evidence here from the Vedas. Gopala Tapani Upanishad. It was Krishna who in the beginning instructed Brahma in Vedic knowledge and who disseminated Vedic knowledge in the past. So this we saw in the beginning itself, that it was Krishna who at the dawn of creation gave all Vedic knowledge to Lord Brahma. Then in the Narayana Upanishad, then the Supreme Personality Narayana decided to create living entities. The Upanishad continues, Narayanad Brahma Jayate, Narayanad Prajapati Prajayate, Narayanad Indro Jayate, Narayanad Ashtau Vasavo Jayante, Narayanad Ekadasha Rudra Jayante, Narayanad Dwadashaditya From Narayan, Brahma is born. From Narayan, the patriarchs are born. From Narayan, Indra is born. From Narayan, the 8 Vasus are born. From Narayan, the 11 Rudras are born. And from Narayan, the 12 Adityas are born. This Narayan is an expansion of Krishna. Then again, Narayana Upanishad says, Brahmanyo Devaki Putra, the son of Devaki, Narayan is the Supreme Personality. In the Moksha Dharma, Sri Krishna himself says, the patriarchs, Shivas and others are created by me, though they do not know that they are created by me because they are deluded by my illusory energy. Even the Guru Granth says, oh, I'm sorry. The Supreme Lord is imperishable, the transcendent Lord, the inner knower, the searcher of hearts. He is the slayer of demons, our Supreme Lord and Master. So see, Madhusudan, this name is there in the Guru Granth. Damodar, this name is there in the Guru Granth. Who is Madhusudan? Who is Damodar?
Krishna.
Krishna, isn't it? This is his name. Then the Supreme Rishi, the master of the sensory organs, the uplifter of mountains. Who is the uplifter of mountains?
Krishna.
Yeah, Govardhan Dhari. See here, Govardhan Dhari. So who, anybody else has lifted the Govardhan? No, only Krishna. So obviously this name refers to Krishna, Govardhan Dhari. The joyful Lord playing his enticing flute, Murli Manohar. Any other Lord plays the enticing flute, Murli Manohar, they can refer to whom?
Krishna.
Krishna, yes. Mohan Madhav, Krishan Murari. So Mohan, Madhav, Krishna, Murari. They are all the names of Krishna only. Jagdeshur. So I cannot pronounce this. Anyway, the Lord of the universe is also one of Krishna's name. So even the Guru Granth is referring to Krishna as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. Now, we have seen Shastric evidence. Now let us see another technical aspect. Now, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself, but he appeared 500 years ago in a place called Mayapur, in the mood of a servant of Krishna or in the mood of a devotee. So he points out to Sanatan Goswami, who is his disciple, that there are 64 qualities that Krishna has to the full extent. 64 qualities. Now, of course, he has unlimited qualities, but he is mentioning the 64 more prominent ones. So let's not misunderstand. It's not that Krishna has only 64, he has unlimited. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentions the 64 more prominent qualities in his instructions to Sanatan Goswami. Now, these are the, so here we have 1, 2, 3 till 10. You can read this offline. Now we are not going to go through it. So here we have more qualities and more qualities up to 50. How many are there in total? How many are the more prominent ones in total? We said
64.
54. So here we have 50, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that living entities, that is you and me, we have 50 of those 64 qualities. Of course, not to the full extent, but to a small, minute, limited extent. Even we, why do we have these qualities that Krishna also has? Is because we are parts and parcels of Krishna. So out of the 64, these first 50, even we have, but to a small extent. Then he goes on to mention more qualities, and these qualities from 51 to 55 are partially manifested in devatas like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. So changeless, all cognizant, ever fresh, Satchitananda, possessing all mystic perfection. So these qualities are there even in Shiva and Lord Brahma. Then he goes on to mention 5 other qualities which are there in Narayan or Vishnu. Now, what are these 5 qualities? Let us read. 56 onwards. Bhumika.
Yeah. He has inconceivable potency, uncountable universes generate from his body. He is the original source of all incarnations. He is the giver of salvation to the enemies who he kills. He is the attractor of liberated souls.
So now we have covered 60 qualities. So these 5 qualities are there in Narayan or Vishnu. So we saw uncountable universes generate from his body, which we just now discussed. Now there are 4 qualities that Krishna has. So 4 more to go to complete 64. So there are 4 qualities which Krishna has that even Narayan or Vishnu do not have. Who can say what are those things that Krishna has that even Narayan does not have?
The flute.
The flute, very nice. So Narayan does not play the flute. So what is so great about playing a flute? What does Krishna do with the flute?
He attracts everybody with his beautiful music. When he plays the flute.
Yes, exactly. When Krishna plays the flute, that sound of that vibration is so transcendental that all the living entities, whatever they're doing, they just drop what they're doing and they feel so attracted to the flute that they go towards Krishna. Whether it is birds or animals or human beings. Very nice. Then 3 more. What is it? Peacock feather. Okay. But that's not amongst the 4 that we are discussing. We are discussing the more prominent ones. But that was a good one, Neha. Come on.
Radha.
Was that
Radha.
Srimati Radharani? Well, Narayan have Lakshmi, who is an expansion of Srimati Radharani. Okay, let's go to the next slide without wasting time.
No, Krishna expands himself at the same time.
Yeah, so even Narayan can expand himself. Even Vishnu can expand himself. Okay, see here. These are the 4 things. Leela Madhuri, Bhakta Madhuri, Venu Madhuri, and Rupa Madhuri. Leela Madhuri means he is the performer of wonderful varieties of pastime. So he is Leela Purushottam. See, Krishna, right from even before he was born or before he appeared itself, there is so much drama, isn't it? So dramatic. Everything about Krishna is so dramatic. His childhood pastimes also are so enchanting. We fall in love with his Leelas as a child. He's stealing butter, he's lifting the Govardhan, he has his Damodar pastime, he's stealing butter, he has these pastimes with the cows, with Lord Brahma in his childhood. He's killing so many demons. So right from his childhood up to his adulthood, even in the Mahabharata, the role he plays in the Mahabharata, in his leelas with the gopis, his leelas with his gopa friends and all that. So all his pastimes are so enchanting. That is not there in Narayan. So that's why he is called as a Leela Purushottam. And why does he do these leelas? In order to attract the conditioned souls back home, back to Godhead. So Leela Madhuri. Then Bhakta Madhuri. He is always surrounded by devotees endowed with wonderful love of Godhead. Always Krishna is surrounded by devotees who love him very much. So he's always with his gopa friends, with the gopis, with you will see pictures of Krishna with the cows. So he's always surrounded by very, very loving devotees. Then Venu Madhuri, we already discussed his flute, how he attracts the living entities with his flute. And Rupa Madhuri, his beauty cannot be rivaled anywhere in the whole of creation. Yes, Narayan is very beautiful, extremely beautiful, but Krishna is most beautiful. So these are 4 things that Krishna has that even Narayan does not have. See here, we can see Krishna at the top and everyone else is coming from Krishna. We have a chart here. We discussed how Krishna's first expansion in the material world is Mahavishnu or Karanodakashayi Vishnu. He lies in the Karana ocean or the causal ocean. That's why he's called as a Karanodakashayi Vishnu. But Krishna's first expansion is Balaram. From Balaram come the first quadruple expansion or the first Vyuha called as Aniruddha, Vasudev, Sankarshan and Pradyumna. Then from the first quadruple expansion comes Narayan. Then from Narayan come the second quadruple or the second Chatuvyuha of Aniruddha, Vasudev, Sankarshan and Pradyumna. Then from the second Chatuvyuha comes Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu is creating universes. then into each universe enters Garbhodakashai Vishnu. So every universe has its own Garbhodakashai Vishnu. So what Garbhodakashai Vishnu does, he enters into each universe, he fills half the universe with his sweat, and that sweat is nothing else but the Garbhodaka ocean. So therefore he's called as the Garbhodakashai Vishnu. And now every universe has its Garbhodakashai Vishnu, but inside the universe there are so many living entities. So then we have Shirodakashai Vishnu, who enters into the heart of every living entity and resides as the Paramatma. So Paramatma's name, Shirodakashai Vishnu. And he resides in the Shir Sagar, or the ocean of milk. That's why he is called as the Shirodakashai Vishnu. So yes, he is in the heart of every living entity, but he also has a planet where he is simultaneously residing in the ocean of milk. So this is Krishna and his expansions. Now, why is it commonly believed that Krishna is an expansion of Vishnu? Is because whenever Krishna descends, then he is descending through the agency of Lord Vishnu, because he is the first expansion in the material world. So Vishnu is the gateway or the agency through which Krishna is descending. So it appears as though he is coming through Vishnu. So most people have this understanding that from Vishnu comes Krishna, but he is only a gateway to enter into the material world. That doesn't mean that he is not existing before him. We will stop here. We will continue in the next class if Krishna so sanctions. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
Jai.
Okay, I want to discuss Krishna Kumar's question from the previous class. He said that Sanjaya started describing the Bhagavad Gita from the 10th day onwards after the fall of Bhishma Dev. So I said that I have heard in another class, but I would research and I would like to see Shastric evidence. So here, first of all, in chapter 3, if you go to your vedabase.io, you have the Mahabharata there. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so here in part 2, chapter 3, somewhere in the middle of the page, here you will see in this section, Dhritarashtra sat anxiously in his palace. There was nothing. Okay, is it here? One second. Oh no, it's even down. So here it's described how he gets his divine vision in this part. One second, let me see. Oh, here it is. So the Rishi then took his leave, which means Vyasadeva took his leave after he gave the divine vision. And then it's described that the sound of his wooden sandals on the marble floor echoing through the chamber, Dhritarashtra sighed repeatedly as Sanjaya began to describe what was happening at Kurukshetra. So from this, one understands that Sanjaya, immediately after he got the divine vision, he began to describe what was happening at Kurukshetra. So then the subsequent verses describe how Sanjaya was describing day 1, day 2, day 3. If you read, you can see that. And then here in chapter 11, there is a description of where was that? See here. As the king's sobbing subsided, because here now Sanjaya described to Dhritarashtra how his sons have been killed. So he is sobbing and then his sobbing subsided and Sanjaya continued describing the battle in full. Sure enough, as he described how Bhishma was coursing through the battle. So on this day, Bhishma is going all out in the war, like death personified. He is killing them by the thousands. The king was enlivened. So the king was enlivened. So it means that Dhritarashtra was feeling very, very encouraged after he heard how Bhishma was going all out. So again, one may ask, just as how Krishna Kumar asked in the previous class, that what is the meaning of him being enlivened or feeling encouraged or feeling happy if he already knows that Bhishma Dev has fallen? So based on this, initially I concluded that Definitely Sanjay has started describing on day one, but then later, Lalitangi Mataji, I asked her because she has another book on the Mahabharat, which is also accepted in ISKCON. 1 second. I have to share again. Where did that go? What are you all seeing on the screen now? This page. Okay.
This.
So here, I better share the screen. See here, this is a book called Mahabharat by Purna Pragya Das. He is a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, and Purna Pragya Das Prabhu, he goes into even more details of the Mahabharat. What is there in the Veda base is a more condensed version. Of course, Mahabharat is 100,000 shlokas, 1 lakh shlokas. So you cannot go into every detail, otherwise the book will be so voluminous, no? So what is in the Veda base is a more condensed version. And here Purna Pragya Das Prabhu, he explains. See here on the first page, he says, "O king, I have come here to offer you the divine vision." So here, Vyasadeva is offering the divine vision to Dhritarashtra. And then, see here, Dhritarashtra said, "My dear Sanjaya, please tell me about Bharatvarsha." So what actually Sanjaya starts to explain is not what comes in the Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita begins by that enquiry where Dhritarashtra is saying, "What did my sons and the sons of Pandu do when they assembled at the battlefield of Kurukshetra?" So Sanjaya, after he got the divine vision, he did start narrating what was happening in Kurukshetra. But before that, what he started to narrate was Jambudvip. So Jambudvip, see, the Earth planet is only one part of an entire island called Jambudvip. If you read the 5th canto of the Bhagavatam, you will see these details, okay, but we will not get into that. So he starts to explain Jambudvip and then Bharatavarsha, which is a part of Jambudvip. So these are the things. What is it in the Veda base that Sanjay started to explain is not given in detail, but yes, Sanjay did explain these things. Okay, so then he's talking about the 6 other islands besides the Jambudvip. So this is the conversation that happened between Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya. And then see here, this is very, very important. This is where we answer this question. Here it says, finally, after taking permission from Dhritarashtra, Sanjaya went to join the Kaurava army at Kurukshetra. So he did go to Kurukshetra. And after the completion of the 10th day of fighting, then Bhishma was finally defeated and had to lie down on the bed of arrows. So when Bhishma Dev fell, that's when Sanjaya has returned to Hastinapur. Okay, so yes, the theory is correct that Sanjaya came back on the 10th day and then he started narrating and then he stays there. Then again, he didn't go back to Kurukshetra. Okay, so I hope this answers your question. And here finally we got Shastric evidence. Krishna was very merciful. I had this question on my mind for.
Mataji, even the very first verse of Bhagavad Gita also says the same thing. That it talks in past tense. Dhritarashtra Vacha, he asked, what did they do? He did not say, what are they doing? I think I also write something, and that also came up in my.
Yeah, so that is in the past tense. It is not in the present tense. Yeah, we can accept that theory also. Correct. Okay.
Thank you, Mataji.
So I will share these 6 pictures of the book. Very, very interesting if you read it. And if you can buy the book also. Actually, that's the next book that I want to buy. Mahabharat by Purna Pragya Das Prabhu. So it's you can purchase it if you like to read the Mahabharat. Okay. Anything else we need to discuss?
I had some doubt with related to Prataksha Praman and Shabda Praman, but I think I'm still gathering some evidence, and I probably share it with you over WhatsApp.
Yeah. So still you're not convinced?
It's not like that because I found some references which says that all the Shastras are Shabda Praman. It's not Prataksha Praman. No, not Shabda. It's not Shabda Praman. It is something else. I probably refer to that chat. I missed it. I had it in my phone, then I missed it. I did not save it in the location. So I had some confusion there. So to clarify that.
Okay, so whenever you're ready to clarify, we will clarify it in the class. Maybe next week if you have it, if you have the information on your ready
Yeah.
with you.
Definitely.
Okay, anything else? Anybody joining us for the first time today on Zoom? Okay, so thank you, Lavina and Devina, for keeping your cameras on. At least I can see someone to communicate. So thank you very much for that. All right, then see you all next week. Till then, have a nice week in Krishna consciousness. Vancha kalpatarovyascha kripa sindhu vyayevacha patitanam pavan vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada.
Jai. Jai.
Thank
Hare
you.
Hare Krishna,
Thank you.
Bhagavatam Mataji. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Krishna.